straight and not falling apart, is that I would love to share my insights after yesterday's Host Transform training. And I have two cameras here, so I'm trying to kind of give both cameras attention in that sense. Why do I love to share these highlights of these trainings? Well, first of all, it's also a little bit because it's a learning for myself to actually mention them, to be more aware of the sessions. So for people that have never heard of Host Transform, and Host Transform is a platform, a membership site actually for trainers, lecturers, coaches, facilitators, human interaction, design, social innovators, everyone that loves to unlock potential within a person, within a team, an organization, or within society as a whole. And me and the practitioners so far, 90 of them, have validated a toolkit that exists out of over 100 variations of hosted transform sessions in which you unlock human energy, positive environment, openness to connect, and the likability for people to share their network skills and knowledge. And all this within 20 minutes. In such, you will create a transformative environment where people um, learn to deal with uncertainty and tap into and create new opportunities. And also for me, which is really important, and this is why I started all this, is to be more humble towards yourself and others, and embrace making mistakes, and um, not really depend yourself so much on the structures that are out there, but really tap into your own potential. And you can only do that when your environment is supportive and when your mindset is supportive. I'm really a strong believer of co-constructing your own world, which might be a little bit philosophical for some. I'm championing Foucault a lot, not to make it too complex, but I really believe, and with me many, that we co-construct our own world by our mindsets and our environment. So if I have limiting beliefs that are about me or about another person that are not so nice, that are negative because they're limiting, I will actually see that and I will focus on that more. And because of that, it becomes a bigger of a reality, and that will again enforce my perceived reality, in which I even become a more stronger believer of it. A simple example is you buy blue shoes, and suddenly half of the world is wearing blue shoes. And you're like, wow, suddenly blue is really the new color, it's a new brand. Maybe I should buy a blue sweater as well, you know? And, or maybe with children, you know, it's often when people get children, they're expecting. Suddenly, half of the world in the streets is also expecting. It's not because that changed, but you look the world through different eyes because your mind is there in that space. Well, you can use the mindset. You can trigger the mindset for the positive and the negative, of course, as well as your environment, and we are about the supportive part. So, how can you unlock a positive mindset and a work environment within 20 minutes? And the host formula is really about unlocking energy, openness to connect, in order for people to create the likability to start co-creating and learn from each other. And if you don't do that by opening up them first, and for them to be energized and feel that they can be themselves, so they can yeah talk from the heart, what some people would say with a check-in, for example, then people are not they're blocked for really sharing what's on their mind. So this formula, the host formula, is not there out there just out of fun or randomly. It really serves a purpose. So yesterday's mini course was about three pillars of leadership. One is about what I just explained, the toolkit of How to Transform. How can you unlock human potential within 20 minutes? And the other one, the second pillar, is about how can you unlock your own potential, and what do you really want, and how can you become more clear about that and perceive your dreams and create your own path towards that. And third of all, leadership, which is about entrepreneurship. How can you, if you know what you want and you're really good at it because you unlock potential of others and it's really you create value, how can you scale that? Um, and scaling is, of course, great because you will reach out for more people. That's the primary incentive and purpose. Not so much the other way around that you want to make a lot of money. I mean, for me, that's not a purpose. No meaning, no margin, I would always say. As they say, they also said at Sankalp, Social Capital Markets event where I went in San Francisco. And what they mean by that, if you don't serve anyone, maybe on a short term you can earn quite some money, but in the end, yeah, it will not last. So I'm really talking about enduring impact. So, three leadership pillars is first of all, know who you are, what you want by experimenting. Are you really having the skills to unlock potential in others? And third of all, how can you scale that by obtaining entrepreneurial skills, which also includes the mindset, of course, but also um, how to dream big and act in small, concrete steps forward and be persistent. And not alone, also with a group, right? With a mastermind. So those people were already helping one the other. So what were highlights of the sessions? And I want to do this kind of every month, also for me to see what were new insights for me, but also to see if it's valuable for you, for maybe emerging trainers, coaches, lecturers, educators, anyone that actually influenced a big group of people could adopt these tools in different ways. You could adopt these tools by, making a program of 3 hours, a workshop, but you could also like blend them in your meetings or in your lecture or in, once it becomes yours, the toolkit, you feel really that it's part of you and you can use it whatever you like and you don't have to think about it so much. So that's my primary aim, not to give you a blueprint but to give you tools that works for you, and I can help you with the translation to your work practice, because now we have this really awesome membership site and people can find each other there, ask each other questions, and I can answer them, they can answer them. And the training videos, the exercises are also integrated in that membership site, and you can have access through it through yeah, it's not very difficult, just through your Facebook in codes or your Gmail, whatever. But anyway, so the highlights of yesterday. Well, first of all, I was surprised again that being, for me as a trainer or a facilitator or a host, I find it really hard to call myself. I'm more of a designer of interaction, human interaction designer, I think, and then I like to pass those tools forward and validate them and then continue. I'm quite eager to do new things. Um, which is also can have a downside too, because often when something works, why not do it more? So yesterday was actually one of the highlights that exercises that I've done like for ages ago, I kind of used them again because the energy was pretty low. People didn't really had a good night. People were lacking of sleep, me included, because unfortunately, my curtains still are not preventing me from lightning. So during the I wake up every day at 5ish, more or less. Anyhow, because of that, people didn't have a lot of sleep. I blended in this dance exercise with music, and I didn't really prepare the playlist. So we got this really random music with cowboy music and reggaeton, and it was so nice how, this was like halfway the workshop or the session, how people just came alive. And even one woman, she's a really professional therapist, a trainer. She had a curriculum. I cannot even recall how many things she did. But she was really sleepy because of that. She only had 2 hours of sleep. And she just, came alive and she was dancing and she was just even ignoring the whole game of the whole framework of that exercise, which was fine, if she was just out there. And the purpose was to wake people up, not so much about having a deep reflection about servant leadership, which is also beautiful, but this case for me it was the energy. So again, I was surprised about how simple tools, don't make things too complex. If you're a trainer or a lecturer, if things simply work, like a check-in, how are you? You don't have to change it every day to make it spectacular or creative. How are you is, people are changing, so why not asking these kinds of process questions, which is evolving and never stops. So people can even pick up each other's stories. They can see kind of the storyline in or the growth in certain topics. For example, a student might have difficulties with learning, and then if you do a check-in on a weekly basis, yeah, well, the student maybe get help from their peers, and so you can see. Yeah, it's not about how you provide this check-in. It's just about that you ask the question. How do you feel, which is really important. I wish I had done that when I was working for Nijrode, one of the private universities in the Netherlands. I didn't have so much didactic skills, so I was really holding on to the book, and it was not really a successful experience for me. But now, unfortunately, I created some tools that help me when I'm lecturing. Sometimes I do still provide some sessions with students, business students, and business innovation students. Anyhow, so first highlight is, and don't throw away your old shoes, or what's the what's the expression? If something works, stick with it. And if people like, oh, we already know this exercise, then you say it's a mean to an end. It's not about the exercise. You can make a joke about it. Right. Second highlight is that I was quite surprised about the openness of the people, but also, I'm quite a curious person. I'm always curious about the stories about behind someone. In that sense, I'm really an anthropologist, I think. Um, And when people, when you see people on LinkedIn and because they enroll for the workshop, you always have this picture like, she must be a little bit serious or he must be a little bit this. And it's never as I expect. It's always so different. And especially, I'm lucky because, in my work, what I do, people, it's kind of the whole objective of people opening up. So I think I get to see most of the time the beautiful side of people. Not always. In the beginning, sometimes people are a little bit still excited and not really know how to behave, but that's all good. Anyhow, it was so nice to see and to also trigger myself that you never know, how a person appears or first impression. Always be open for what's beyond that, or maybe after the fifth impression, what's beyond that. It's also how you feel that day, and it's not a one-dimensional thing, how people are and how you can perceive them. So that was another highlight for me, that the participants surprised me in the different kind of people there were, and that I really embrace the saying, look the world through baby's eyes, always be curious, always look things from a new, fresh perspective, beyond your judgments and maybe the luggage you carry with you from the past. Um, so having said that, I was also very, which is also a highlight, that the diversity of people, their backgrounds, how that can really contribute to a session. There was a person that was as a leadership coach, and he works with the methodology, working with a wooden sword. His name is John. I also had an interview with him, so you might see that later on one of the videos. But it's so interesting that he's also making sure that people switch from the analytical skills from the left brain more to the right brain, where the empathy is created or unlocked. Well, I call it agility, adaptability, generosity, intuition, leaping into new things. Like I just mentioned, looking to the world with new baby's eyes, where the empathy is. And he's doing the same. He has the same purpose, but he's doing it with different tools, which is cool. And he's more about the individual, the internal um, transformation, and I'm more about, well, the internal, but connected with other people immediately. So you can also get external input, which can provide you new viewpoints. And I think that's quite hard when you only do yoga or meditation or mindfulness, which I love. It's really hard to get new insights when you're by yourself. Maybe if you become, very conscious, then you do get new insights just by being by yourself. But it's also nice when people reflect upon it, when you're with a group. So it's kind of a group wisdom or group consciousness. Somebody mentioned yesterday, we are creating group consciousness. And this is what I call the third space. I don't know why it sometimes did it pop up. I think it's because it's not only by one person, it's not only by the other, but it's something you create together. So a third, external thing that you create, and it needs time. In the beginning when we started the workshop, the third space was not there, but after 20 minutes, I think we totally created it. Everyone felt comfortable and energetic enough and open enough just to take the lead or to give input or even to take the stage. I could lean back a little bit, which was great. Um, so that's what I mean with third space, when you really create that together. And not by use this. Oh yeah, that's what I want to say. It's also something that is gone the next day. It can be gone, So yeah, sometimes there was one teacher once or one trainer, and she didn't really create for me the third space. I was actually in this TED Talk thing, and out of the blue, she was just saying, "Okay, pitch why you are here." And I'm like, "Wow, I don't know the 20 people," and suddenly I cannot really talk anymore. I feel really insecure. What's going on? So later I called her and I said, "Hey, I'm not sure if it's me, but I don't really think there was a safe haven, so to speak, a third space where I felt like, hey, I can be myself, I can tap into my potential, and I can just tell my story, which is super personal. As you're familiar with TED Talks, it's all about your story, and if you talk from the head, it will not work. Well, at least not for me. Um, so anyhow, she kind of was like, yeah, but you had email contact, so maybe you feel connected. I'm like, no, for me that's a different thing. You have to always create a third space. And also another trainer of mine, improv trainer, she's great, but she was like, yeah, but this is the eighth class. We can just start. We don't need to have. Positive feedback anymore because we trust each other, so we can dive into the criticism. And I'm like, whoa, I don't agree with that because I feel different today than last week, and I had, I have my things, and everyone has it, and I think it's something you always have to build. It's like you live with your partner forever, and then he knows that I love him, so we don't need to say positive things anymore. We can just be very direct. I think intrinsic human. How do you call that? Emotions do not work like that. You have to build things before you can really break the ice. So anyhow, third space with the different people was really nice. I'm kind of blending things in. I'm sorry, I'm still with the third part. So the difference of people joining this session, which was really cool. So this woman that has open heart, open mind organization. She was joining, very experienced, all the way from Arnhem. She was in the train for quite a bit. We had the session in Amsterdam, the Amsterdam. Um, and she really surprised me by her enthusiasm, and her name is Joyce. So that was really great to see. Um, and also that she didn't carry away. She didn't get carried away by her own expertise. She was really open to learn new things, and she really liked the method, how I frame things, and how easy this could potentially be to transmit in other work fields. because often when you talk about trainings or maybe dance or something funny, then people think, this is creative something, and they put it in a box, and before you know, you end up in the team building area. But what we try to do is to really integrate it in the work context of people on a, well, preferably daily basis, as part of their culture and not as a 1 month or annual team building exercise thing. So she really loved that. So that's beautiful to hear. We had John with the sword. He was there. Wooden sword. He's also joining the leadership program. Then we had Geert, and he's an architect, but an architect that has the aim to contribute to organizational transformation. So, how can you create your interior design in a way that it contributes with people willing or opening up to change or to see things from a different perspective? I'm very curious how he's perceiving that, how he's making this concrete. Uh, there's a lot of potential there, so it's nice. Well, we were 5, 6 people. We all had the same missions, which is unlocking potential of people and doing this in a systemic way, so from within, but also be conscious about, the work environment you're in, the society you live in, but all through different methods, and that was really awesome to see. So we had him, architect, John with the sword, then we had Joyce with a big repertoire of therapy, training, mediation, etc. These kind of methods. Then we had also what's his name? God, that doesn't matter. Another man, he came there for the second time, and he works for a big organization as a salesman to help the organization culture to become more agile. And that's exactly what we are about, So that's really nice that we share that jargon already, and also the way to perceive it. I'm really curious to what the methodology they are using. I have to still speak with him. Walter is his name. Walter with the L of love. You get Water with the L of love. Walter. That's how how we paraphrase his name. So that was really nice to see that he came back for the second time, and he's kind of on the edge of starting his own thing in this field. So I really hope he will join this program or in a later stage. Um, and he's creating his map of limiting beliefs, like what is blocking him, how can you, what are the balances, um, because not for everyone is it easy to change things around career-wise if you're dependent on a mortgage or children. But what really resonated with me is what that he said. It would be so inspiring for my children to see that I can live my dreams. Um, and maybe that's even more inspiring than just having luxury of consumerist goods every day because your dad makes a lot of money, but to see your father really in his highest potential and live his dreams, I think that can be even, well, it's not the same. It's like really inspiring. Maybe subconsciously, now I'm talking about it, I had the same with my parents. I mean, my dad has always been a jazz musician with his own big band. He's doing quite well. He's even knighted by the Queen and all that. And my mom is started off as a ballet teacher, and then now she's into Pilates and all kinds of dance. She has background in jazz dance. So they, on a young age, they always knew what they wanted, and also it was not very common in their world. It was something controversial, like why don't you go and work in a company? Why don't you join us for football? Why do you buy a clarinet? Why do you have to be so different towards my dad and my mom as well? Like, why are you into ballet? You need these diets, and it's gonna be so difficult. But they hold on to it. So who knows? The DNA, or I don't know. Is there some line there too? So I learn a lot from the participants too when they say those things. It's beautiful. They inspire me a lot. Let me see. And there was another participant. We had Walter. Da, da, da. Yeah, Ada, and she's also an improviser, an actress. Role play a lot in company she's doing, also applied improvisation skills that she's using. So she already knew quite some of the exercises, but also she told me that she was really surprised by the way we framed it and the reflection part of it. That it's really beyond the exercise. It really becomes a means to an end to increase consciousness between people and within people. To connect with yourself and with the others, is what we say, right? Connect beyond the boundaries of fear, judgment, and skepticism. So she really loved that. So it was great to hear. So this, I'm really grateful for this diverse set of people. Um, well, another point to highlight was the power of music, how that can unlock energy. Very useful. And yeah, another thing that surprised me again is the potential of a group of people that have never met before, and how you can how that becomes a self-stirring group or team almost. After a while, I could just leave for the toilet and get drinks and all that, and they were just in their thing, and it was so constructive. They were really unlocking each other's potential and pushing each other to a higher level, so to speak. And this is something I could never do by myself. Even if I do one-on-one counseling, it would be so tiring. It's just the whole combination of creating that positive mindset and that atmosphere, and asking the right questions. Of course, frame the exercises and all that very well, and also be there consciously. But that people, it's easy to create a self-steering group in that sense and team. So I can't wait for people to use this to actually apply this in organizations to create self-steering teams as a tool. And that was the fifth point. Sixth point is that yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit downsizing what I'm doing. I recognize that I say, everyone can do this. Hosting is very easy, and it's just doing these exercise. And I think in theory it's like that. It's very practical and it's not rocket science. And John is always laughing because he is a rocket science. He works on, he's an engineer. Used to work on building rockets. It's so funny. Anyhow, I mean, it's really not rocket science to provide these sessions, but it's again about your presence. Are you really there with the group? Are you in sync? Do you kind of have your extra tentacles out there to really feel and get the vibrations of the group and of individuals too? Are they all okay? Do they feel safe? Are in their powers? And this is not something you could see from the outside, right? It's not that I'm riding or I'm running around or I'm stressed or I'm like this. No, I'm actually walking around and from different positions. That's also a good tip, by the way, as a trainer or facilitator host, take different positions in the room to see what's going on and how I could contribute or add something, or how could I, does the room need an intervention, or is it all okay? And is it just my eagerness to do something different? Because that's also something what trainers do, like, oh, let's do something else. But why? If this already works, it's your impatience maybe that is speaking. So that's why I went to the toilet and started to, get some drinks, because I really want to give them the time to explore this. And at the beginning, they asked me, "How long will this exercise be?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's say 4 minutes each." But again, I work in an agile way. Haha, agile. And in the end, it was so true because I think they all spoke like 10 minutes each or something, because it was so helpful for them. So why would I interrupt that? Um, so that was my sixth point, that hosting is hard work. It requires a lot of flying hours, I think, to feel at ease, not to interfere all the time, and it's really not about you. And if people hardly recognize that you are actually creating that, you should also be fine with that. I remember one practitioner, Annemieke, she told me, yeah, and there I was doing all this stuff, and they were so in sync, I could just walk away. And I said, yeah, well done. yeah, but it didn't really feel that, that I get an applause or they were kind of having gratitude towards. I said, but that's later stage, But and even it's not about that. It's not about you. I think it's the best thing you can do when you walk away and people do not notice and it all works. And they're like, huh, where is she? Oh, is it over? I think that's, and they're not checking the time, Then they're in flow and you created that. So, yeah, and for me, I shouldn't underestimate all the flying hours, like for 7 years and all the different skills I blended in there. I still have the temptations to take it for granted and say, you can do this, but it's different levels that you can apply these skills, of course. John started off for the first time applying the colliding brain exercise during the workshop of yesterday, and he did really well. But I could also see that he's just starting, and this is not something terrible. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. But it also gave me again the feedback like, hey. It does take some time to create this awareness about yourself, about the group, about the potential of the exercise, and how to deal with different situations. Also, to be an agile trainer, right? Like somebody doesn't get it. How do you interfere with that? Are you going to be very precise and take 2 hours to explain, or are you going to be very short and say, "You will get it"? Is it going to be part of the process that this person has to deal with uncertainty, not knowing the exercise? All these things, and I can talk about it for 1,000 hours. I already feel, but this comes by practice, and and you would never harm anyone by just applying these skills. And so that's the good part. It's never harmful, but it's up to your expertise in which degree you can make people reflect upon themselves and upon the group and really take learnings out of it and do something with it. And that's also part of the art of reflection, where I talk about in my mini course, which is free, by the way. You can just, I think somewhere there's a website popping up. So if you leave your email address behind, you can just get the free sessions. I think it's like 4 videos with pretty extensive feedback. We work pretty hard on that, me and Echo's videographer. So yeah, make use of it, I would say. And the seventh point is yeah, transformation. It sounds really dull by now because this is the company's name. But trust on the process for people to transform. Because again, I started off the workshop and there's always people that also say, I'm a bit nervous. Maybe I'm not really here because something happened. Or they really want to check you out if they trust you, which is, of course, very normal because you are the one that hosts them, facilitates them, and they're going to talk about their most probably some personal stuff too. So you want to know if I'm not just some random person and doesn't really trust the process, or is not really fine with herself, or gets in argue with you how to live your life or something. Like I remember yesterday also that we came to a point that one of the participants tried to explain that he found it really difficult to be in the here and now, in the presence, because sometimes he makes wrong decisions being in the presence. But then again, it's also how you perceive the presence, and do you really know what you want? Because then you really can react more intuitively. If you don't know, then your decisions in the moment can also be very wrong. And of course, you learn from that. But I think good decision making in the here and now should arise, or will arise from a framework that you really know where you're going, where you're heading for. And the how is the second thing. Doesn't matter how, but you know where you're heading for. So you know when to say no, when to say yes, etc. Okay, pretty deep, but anyhow, it's not about us getting an argument about that. I just have to respect that he's feeling like that and he's recognizing this. And I only provided feedback that, hey, this is also how you can perceive it, but this is just a way. And it's really nice when you can get those dialogues in instead of, no, I'm right, this is my feeling, or you're right, or, agree to disagree is also fine. Also, one of the participants was pretty critical about one of the frameworks I explained, the World After Midnight frame. of Obang, that he talks about the exponential learning curve. And of course, it's a model, and I don't even know if there's a whole science behind it, but it's a good framework to talk about agility. And if we live in a different world right now where we cannot just learn by books and obtain all this knowledge, and that we have to tap into some new level of learning, which has to do something with becoming more conscious about ourselves and how we communicate, and to find alignment more easy than reading 10 books before you can agree upon something. So I think that's yeah. I also put that we're in some state of becoming more subconscious, and or tapping into our subconscious, becoming more conscious, which helps us in our work and in our daily lives, which has never been there before. I don't know if you talk with the younger generation, for me, they are already way more open than I was in high school, like wow. But also, if you look at it, some of them get mindfulness training or go in therapy when they're very young, or when they do yoga. One of my cousins is actually doing yoga for kids. Can you imagine the awareness that people raise on such an early age? I think it's beautiful, and it doesn't have to be hardcore spiritual, but just about, hey, there's more than just my emotions. Hey, I can open up, and I can, when I think differently, I can also change things for myself and for other people. So that's all nice things, and also to live a healthy lifestyle, things like that. So for me, again, trust the process. Transformation will occur when if I'm just okay with myself as a facilitator. If somebody is not having the insights yet because you're not at the end of the training, and he or she feels still a little bit, in her or his head, let's make it a him, in his head, then I should be okay with that. And I was just aware of it. I remember my early days that I was a bit impatient. So I felt like, oh, I have to convince this person this is really good what we're doing. But now I feel like, no, this is how he feels, and he's right. And I can understand because this is the first time. And after the break, you saw him going through this transformation. Even his face became more soft, Sometimes you see people have strict faces and all that. But you could even see in his eyes, he had soft eyes and he was really open. And after that, he even thanked me for, the workshop and all that. And I thought maybe it's not really fruitful for him. I don't know. I will see. So it was really nice to see again that transformation will occur, but everyone is in a different process. Some people pick it up right away, and they're also there with different aims. They want to obtain more skills, maybe by host, or they want to maybe join a leadership training to work on their own business. But for him, it was really maybe about who am I and what do I really want. This is a different quest than obtaining some new skills for your toolkit. This is a different thing. So that was nice to realize. So there were 7 things actually. Yeah. So quite long story. I hope it was fruitful. Let me know by some comments because I would love to do it every month. Yeah, 40 minutes almost. And yeah, if you have any recommendation for me how to improve these kind of things, awesome, very nice. I would love to hear about that. Thank you very much, and have a humble and agile day.